Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. The Headspaces are a series of thoughts and musings I have during the course of the week, and I chew all over them and I share them with you. And this week's Headspace is called Keir Starmer the Granny Harmer, Keir Starmer the Farmer Harmer, only invests in war and bashing the poor. I quite like that. I think I'm going to say that again. Keir Starmer the Granny and Farmer Harmer only invests in war and bashing the poor. So before I jump into this headspace, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone who's been supporting the show and listening to the show. And everybody who's also jumped onto my YouTube channel where I've got 1,551 subscribers. Can you believe that? Each week it grows up every week, and it's because people are absolutely enjoying the Royal Corner. They're not so much onto my political stuff, but we're going to work on that. But I just want to keep saying thank you so much to all of those people who have been supporting me. You can go to my website, which is also called deniseheadley.com, which is also the same name as my YouTube channel, and you can make a donation there. You can buy me, for want of a better word, a collection of lovely, tasty treats. You might want to get me 3 wings and chips and a Miranda and a side piece as well, because I'm quite partial to a side piece of chicken after my wings. Or you might want to give me the price of a meal from your country where I can sample the whole gambit of delights from your country of origin. I'd be so very much. I'd see it as a public service to do that. Thank you so much. Also, I have to ask and beg for your patience once again, because I feel a little bit mercurial. And I think that's also to do because the fact that my cat passed away a week ago, and it's been really, really difficult for me adjusting to his presence not being here. And I desperately miss my darling Dexter. And I know he'd want me to power through. So that's what I'm going to keep on doing. So let's jump straight back into this rather kind of short headspace, which is called Keir Starmer, the Granny and Farmer Harmer, only invests in war and bashing the poor. So the reason I've come up with this is because our Prime Minister is about to face a rebellion in Parliament over the Welfare Reform Bill. I think to date over 132 MPs have backed an amendment which will effectively kill the bill when they have the vote. And I hope the bill dies anyway, because I honestly believe that it's another attack that Keir Starmer has come in to do, because he has no real intention of focusing his attention on domestic politics. He's only interested in being on the world stage. He came to parliamentary questions to crow about how important he was in the recent negotiations on, with the G7, and also with what's happening with Iran and what's happening in the Ukraine. That's where he likes to be. But he came in my opinion, as the Prime Minister to do only 2 things. He came to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn and ensure that that version of Labour died a death under his stewardship. That's why he wanted to destroy Jeremy and destroy all those people who supported that version of Labour. And he also wanted to take us back into the European Union and also, of course, be a warmongerer, because he's an absolute supporter of the colonial project in Israel. He's completely backed that whole exercise. And he is also, as far as I'm concerned, the lapdog of the establishment, as well as the war machine in this country and also in Europe and in North America. So what does he have on his agenda currently for his domestic policies? Well, he wants to, once again, be a granny harmer that he is and damage people who are on disability benefits. And he's facing a significant revolt internally. And let's explain to you why he's facing a revolt and why that revolt is deserved. He's completely borrowing policies from Reform and the Conservatives, as his welfare benefits target the most vulnerable people, the least represented people, and the least vocal group, because we don't have, or those individuals who have disabilities, and I include myself in that, we don't have significant lobby groups paying mass amounts of money into the Labour Party, so we get representation. He is facing a rebellion of about 134 MPs. As I said previously, they've backed the amendment. The plans which will slash universal credit, which effectively replaced income support, which is the reason people get universal credit, okay, is invariably they are in work. Disabled people who are in work, who are on low wages, therefore they get the top up with universal credit. Those individuals and people on personal independence who rely on UC are going to face the largest burden of this welfare reform under Keir Starmer. These welfare cuts allegedly are going to save 5 billion, but yet Mr. Starmer is pledging 75 billion for defense. If that doesn't tell you where his priorities lie, I'm not quite sure what it is you're looking at and not understanding. He's interested in war. He's not interested in the life experiences of some of the most vulnerable people under his governance. No, he wants to make sure that we can have lots and lots of money going towards defense. He's also going to be purchasing nuclear-capable jets whilst cutting welfare benefits. Would he countenance a wealth tax? Of course not, because he's not here to disturb that section of our community. He is an agent of that community. That's who Keir Starmer works for. All of those people who voted for him, you were duped, okay? You were in a delusion where only you were the only person living in it, thinking they were going to be supportive to the ordinary working person. More fool you. Next time, vote for the Workers' Party, because I'll be standing again. So he's not going to consider a wealth tax. A wealth tax could create £24 billion for the economy, but he doesn't want to do that because he's only here, as I said, to engage us back again in Europe, prepare us for war with the latest enemy conjured up by GB News, BBC, ITV, LBC and everybody else. And he was also here to destroy Jeremy Corbyn and that version of the Labour Party, because don't forget, we've only got a duopoly political system. It's either red or blue. I mean, reform's coming up on the heels, but those are the usual suspects. And it's the same product with a different jacket, people. Irrespective of the public outrage, you've got so many charities coming in and saying that this is the wrong way to go about welfare reform. You have Sadiq Khan, Jeremy Corbyn and disability activists leading the charge here to say, look, this is morally reprehensible and it's also hypocritical. You know, most people who voted for Labour didn't vote for conscription, going to war with Russia, also going to war and funding the conflict in the Ukraine. People didn't sign up for that. They signed up because they thought that the Labour government was going to deliver structural, equitable change. But it hasn't. That's not what it's there for, people. I'm sorry to be the bearer and the harbinger of bad news. Labour isn't for the working person. He's already facing a crisis, okay? Depending on which poll you're looking at, he's got between 12 and 16% approval rating. Nobody thinks that he is a good leader, apart from obviously his donors. I think that if this is a defeat for him, I think he's going to be gone by Christmas. I did say this before. Starmer is oleaginous, meaning secreting oil. He is to me, I get that impression every time he comes along. He has only surrounded himself, and as Kemi Badenoch said, with lawyers, okay? That's who is his clique. And of course, he loves being on the world stage. He likes traveling on trains with other European leaders, apparently engaging in a whole raft of things that was somewhat questionable. And let's not forget what's going on in relation to the people who were breaking into his house. Those individuals were charged with arson, not terrorist attacks. Ask yourself that question. Why did that happen? Anyway, I'm digressing somewhat because the point I'm trying to make is that Keir Starmer is an unpopular leader. He's leading an unpopular party. He has a cabinet which, as far as I can see, none of them have any voice apart from Rachel Reeves. And I'm not sure how long she's going to be keeping her job in the reshuffle, because of the type of policies they're putting on the British public. They've had to make a U-turn over the winter fuel because it's damaging people and it's damaging the prospects of their electoral return come in about, 3 years time when we go to the polls again. Let's not forget, we've got the local elections coming up in 2026. Labour have already taken a drubbing in the unitary elections, okay? So they're not in a good position, and yet you still have this leader following policies that make him deeply unpopular with the populace, the voting public. So I don't think that his rating is going to last significantly long. I think he is going to be removed before Christmas, and the boy streeting will be the new incumbent, because Labour will never, one, have a female leader, and forget having anyone that's not white. Forget that. Yeah, that's in your dreams, people. They will never have anybody like that. The only reason David Lammy is there is to give political cover. He was Sherry Blair's intern, and then he rose through the ranks, and just like very many individuals who, as far as I'm concerned, are more interested in their own personal advancement over community advancement, that's the reason why Lammy is there. And I'm using very selective language. I could be somewhat more harsh, but I'm not going to be. So what's your thoughts on the welfare reform bill? Do you think it's going to fall? Do you think it's going to be the final death knell in Keir Starmer's presidency or prime ministership, given he had the largest majority going forward? I mean, he had a larger majority than Jeremy Corbyn, who got more votes, and he got in. Yeah, thanks to the Boundary Commission. There you go. So what's your thoughts? You know, are you with me on this? Do you think that Keir Starmer is a poor leader? He has disappointed the voters. He has completely betrayed the old ideas about what Labour was. I mean, they weren't old ideas. They were sound ideas built on, community, built on equity and fairness. But do you think that he is the embodiment of that? And would you vote again for him? Would you consider reform? Many people, I don't think that everyone who votes for reform is a racist. No, I don't. But I think many people want change, and that's the only public vehicle. We can talk about why it's the only vehicle, but the fact is, it's the only other vehicle that people can see as an alternative. Would you go that route or not? Give me your thoughts. Give me your 2 pence, your 3 cities, or your declining dollar price on whether Keir Starmer, the farmer, granny, harmer, bashes the poor and loves to invest in war. Please, that's patented for the Headley Highlight Show. See you next week. Thank you for your patience. And once again, what can I say? See you. Ta. Love you, Dexter. I forgot to say, don't forget to make a donation at deniseheadley.com, or go over to my YouTube page and you can donate directly there. Thank you so much. See you next week, and cut.